vista, baby.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Luke's Reviews, and on today's video I will be reviewing the newest installment in the Terminator franchise. It is Terminator Dark Fate, which is directed by Tim Miller, who in the past has done Deadpool and comes from a fairly video game centric background. It stars new faces such as Mackenzie Davis, Natalia Reyes and Gabriel Luna, but also reunites us with some familiar faces including Arnold Schwarzenegger and the return of Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor. It's worth noting that Dark Fate takes place in present day. Sarah Connor has prevented Judgment Day, but that hasn't stopped a new future from evolving. In Mexico City, Dani is a factory worker, but her life is soon changed forever when a Terminator, in this film a Rev 9, is sent to kill her, and an enhanced fighter, Grace, is sent to protect her. Throw back in Sarah Connor to the mix, and what you get is what producers are calling the true follow-up to T1 and T2. Now, it goes without question there have been ups and downs to the Terminator franchise. The first two are bona fide classics, with Terminator 2 Judgment Day probably being one of the best films ever made. I say that wholeheartedly. It's one of my favourite films. But the sequels, yeah, they kind of dropped the ball. I think that's fair to say. Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines wasn't a bad film. It was fine. But when you're comparing that to Terminator 1 and 2, it just doesn't come anywhere close. Salvation was trying way too hard to be the edgy relative that's trying to be all hardened and cool, but it just came across kind of sloppy. And Genesis, that was just a train wreck. That was just a garbage film. So much so that with this film, they have retroactively removed those films from canon. They no longer exist. Technically, if you're looking at the chronology of the Terminator films, it goes Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Terminator Dark Fate. So therefore, we have been waiting technically since 1991 for a universally appreciated follow-up to the Terminator franchise. And when this film was announced and Tim Miller was attached direct and James Cameron was even going to be returning on a story credit, not just a mere executive producer that will be called in to try and endorse the film, my hopes for it were reasonably high. And then sprinkle in a couple decent trailers, I was quietly optimistic. But yet it does fall on my shoulders to be the one to say that Dark Fate is pretty bad. In fact, sorry, no, I misspoke. It's really bad. Badass. Oh, the relief. Oh, the literal weight that has been lifted from my shoulders here. Oh, I'm so happy to say that they did it. They bloody did it. This is good. This is better than good. This is great. And in Terminator terms, like, good is fine, usually, when it comes to Terminator films. Bad is pretty terrible, but when a Terminator movie gets it great, it is awesome. Like I said, I'm so happy to say Dark Fate is such a worthy successor to the first two films. The strongest aspect that this film does have, though, is the promise that it holds for the franchise. It acts as a proverbial passing of the torch from the old to the new, both in terms of on-screen and yet behind the scenes as well. Think of it basically like the 2009 Star Trek, or The Force Awakens even, except that this one doesn't have J.J. Abrams attached. Rather than just trying to play the greatest hits to try and just hit you with that nostalgia, what this film is doing is reminding you why you love this series in the first place, as well as setting this franchise on a new path for the future. And this film also thrives on its pace. It is relentless from the word go. You are thrown at this movie. And Tim Miller has such a firm grasp on what he's trying to do here. He's evoking that relentless, chaotic energy that was so apparent in the first two films, but he's just giving it like a bit of a modern update. Not to mention he knows how to craft the shit out of some action scenes. And this isn't a clean film. This isn't some watered down 12A or PG-13 attempt at a Terminator film. This is a 15. This is a hard 15. There's blood is shed, expletives are thrown, movie gets down and dirty, limbs are torn off. For a movie that revels in its ability to say f as many times as it wants, very little are given to try and stay as mainstream as possible. What helps Dark Fate fit in snugly with T1 and T2 are the characters. You care about them. You aren't forced to told you're gonna like this character because it's Sarah Connor come back or it's John Connor come back. These are mostly new characters that this movie spends time investing you in developing them. Linda Hamilton has not lost any of her animalistic intensity that she possessed in T2. Yeah, potentially she's even more hardcore in this film. But again, what Tim Miller and his creative writing team do is that they begin to just flesh her out even more. New twists are thrown, new obstacles are put in front of her. So how does she overcome them? What can she do? And most notably here is this is what the Terminator films have been missing. Like, you can throw Arnie in, but always the heart and soul of these films has been Sarah Connor. And you put Linda Hamilton back in the role, a role that she loves and she adores, and you're gonna get fantastic results. Mackenzie Davis is a new face. She plays Grace, and she's a fantastic addition that really knows how to throw down when when it's called upon her. But what I love about her character is that we aren't told everything about her from the get-go. The film takes its time to explain anything that she's holding secret, holding close to her chest, who she is, the purpose that she serves, the relationship that she might have with Danny. It doesn't just dump it all in one go. It carefully blocks it out. When is this information going to be vital? When can we stretch this out to make it more of a mystery? And yeah, like I said, she's a freaking on the action scenes. And Natalia Reyes is a solid anchor for this film, as she's kind of the new focus. I don't want to give too much away, but she's in a roundabout way kind of like the new John Connor. But this is where I was particularly impressed. And the best part is that I didn't notice it until watching this film. You have predominantly, for like, I want to say about 70% of this film, 3 main leads that are all female in a big Hollywood action blockbuster. And that's pretty big in terms of representation, not to mention that Natalia Reyes is Latina, and yet there's never a point where the film feels like it's hitting you overhead with this statement. It's just there. It's just treating it as the norm, which it should be in the first place. Gabriel Luna makes for a brilliant antagonist as the Rev 9 that kind of shares some similarities as the T-1000, but yet definitely does its own thing, and I think that just sums up the movie. This Dark Fate does share some similarities to T1 and T2, but it is still doing its own thing. It's kind of paying homage to the classics that came before it. And the visual effects for Luna's character are particularly impressive, and in all fairness, I don't think there has been a Terminator villain as threatening and menacing as the Rev 9 is since the T-1000. And as for Arnold, he is in the film, and he plays a T-800. That is all I'm able to say without even touching on spoilers. I will say that the writers really take his character in an interesting direction. A direction that I, for one, thought was marvellous. Honestly, it was a stroke of genius, in my opinion. If I were to try and explain to you what they do with his character, explaining it won't do it justice, it will sound terrible. But the way that they execute it, honestly, it just works. Honestly, I am overjoyed at how great this is. Sure, it's a little rough around the edges, and there are a couple instances of clunky dialogue, but it can all be overlooked. The returning characters fit in perfectly. The new characters find their footing instantly. Tim Miller is the breath of fresh air this franchise so desperately needed. I love the Terminator franchise, but I am also a harsh critic of it. So believe me when I say that Dark Fate is damn good. Overall, I'm very happy to give Terminator Dark Fate a 9 out of 10. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on Terminator Dark Fate. Phew! I'm happy. I am proper happy. Let me know what you thought of the film down in the comments below. Also, my question to you. I will be doing a Terminator ranked, every Terminator movie ranked, but I do just want to know, what is your favourite Terminator movie? Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought of this film down in the comments below. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. The links to all of my social media accounts are in the description below. Many thanks for watching, guys, and I shall see you in the next video.